All right, so we're out here messing with this thing, and I was, looking everything over and wondering why it wouldn't stay running and all the. It just never ran right to me, and I was kind of trying to figure that out. And so I was looking down here at the headers and all, and I noticed that number 4 was still pretty black paint. And I was like, well, that's odd because all of the other tubes are, burnt. You can see them burnt, and then it's just, nice black, no paint gone, indicating a skip. So I was like, well, that's weird. So I pulled the plug, and the plug had fuel on it, and I was like, well, daggum, maybe it's not firing. So I pulled the wire off, put another spark plug in and laid it against the header and cranked it up, and it's sitting there firing like it should. And I was like, well, if it's getting fuel in there and the plug's firing, why is it not working? So I pulled the injector out, took it to my crude little hook a can of brake cleaner to it and cycle with a window switch, and it was spraying and everything. So I was like, well, that's weird, because typically when they sit, the back tube plugs are the ones that get stopped up, and this came off of a running truck. So, and these heads and everything came off of a running truck. So what I did know is I did not do this wiring harness for this engine. So I pulled the clip off the injector 4 and checked, and it should have 12 volts on one side, and then the ECU grounds the other side, and that's what fires it. So I checked that one. It had 12 volts on the pink wire, as it should, and then the blue and black wire there, it had 5 volts. And I was like, well, that's weird. So I checked the other ones, all the other ones, and all the other ones was open, didn't show anything. So again, since I didn't do this harness, I was like, well, it's got to be something in the harness. So I went and grabbed my cheat sheet from LT1.com or whatever it is, and got to looking at it, and sure enough, that blue wire should go to the ECU number 44. Well, I looked, and it went to pin 47, and 47 is a 5-volt reference for a big block, or the 8.1 engine. So I was like, well, there's the problem. So I switched, put it on 44, and now it runs as it should. The other problem was I wanted to look at my injector data because of what I learned on the CTS-V. So since these are Gen 4 injectors from whatever part number they are, I knew what vehicle they came out of, and it was a Gen 4, either the E40 or E67 or whichever one it was. So that flow rate on these, maximum on that ECU, went up to 62 or 64 or whatever it is. And on those, you can use that. There's an Excel spreadsheet online that you input the data, and then it outputs the LS1, which is this is the blue-red ECU. So it outputs the data to the correct format and numbers. So it has some background math in there, so it calculates everything. So I went in there, and there's 4 parameters you have to change: the short pulse adder, the flow rate, and the offset voltage, and something else. But anyway, so I corrected that and looked over a couple other little things, and now it runs a whole lot better and stays running. And another thing is that the coolant temp sensor, for some reason, is back there, which historically that one reads a couple degrees different from up here. So it was reading dead, like it was dead cold, so I was going to dump fuel trying to get it warmed up. So I just unplugged it for the time being. And I also checked the map sensor, and the map parameters on this one were the same. So made sure all that data was correct, looked over a couple other things, and now it's running a lot better. So that being said, what I'm about to do is we got a couple project trucks around here that are a lot closer to completion than this hot pile. So what we're gonna do is I want to get it running properly before I pull it out. So I'm about to take the drivetrain out of here. So this is a 6.0 bottom end iron block. It's got I think they're LY6 pistons, 243 heads, obviously a Trailblazer SS intake, 4-bolt throttle body that whistles, and it's got some kind of little baby camshaft. It's a 4L65 that's been rebuilt by my buddy, and it has a Precision Vigilante converter, and so it will be going to this one. So I've been running through a bunch of scenarios and racking my brain at what I wanted to put and where. And to be honest, this thing is just I'm over it, because I don't have the time to devote to rust repair and cutting all this stuff out, and it's just it's gotten too overwhelming. Like, I don't have the room for both of these trucks because I've got all these other trucks. But this cab's foobar, but the roof's good, and it's just parts and pieces of this one they're both foobar. So this cab's coming off this chassis, and then I'm gonna put this drivetrain in this truck, and I got my motor mounts and everything. And my buddy was gracious enough to get me these awesome wheels. And if you didn't know, Kumho does make slicks. They make some very nice slicks. My only problem is he only had, he had 3 of them. So I mean, those would look pretty awesome on this thing. I don't even know what size they are, but anyway, he wanted his 24s back, and I wanted him to have them back because I didn't want to be responsible for them. So he let me hold these so we can at least roll it around. And the reason for that is because you can't fit a 16 won't go on anymore because of the drop spindles in the front. So I think the smallest you can go is a 17, and then you've got to cut the end of the ball joint threads off and run a shorter nut and do a lot of grinding to make sure it clears that bottom. So I'll probably just find a set of factory 20s to put on here, and but for the meantime, this will get us rolling. I worked on it yesterday, got the seats and all pressure washed, and Michael, and then leaves this stuff. I got the doors open to air it out because it smells. So I sprayed some of that Chemical Guys new car scent in it to try to remedy the smell. And I have another dash, but it's tan. The one that was in here was cracked, so I got to figure out the paint part of it and get it painted, and then I'll put the dash cover on. And these I had some better door panels because the ones that were on here, they had taken 3-inch wood screws and just put them in every which way they would go. So it does not have heated seats, so that's just from the truck these came out of, and they're in pretty good shape. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're a lot nicer excuse me, than what was in here. But yeah, so these are motor mounts for the V8 in this truck, and we got the step side bed. I've got a better bumper for the back, and then that exhaust is definitely going to be going. So that's what we're getting ready to do, because I'd like to get this thing back together and running, because this is a lot closer to being a truck that I can drive and sell than that. So I'll put together something else for that, because this is here, it's available, it works, and like I say, it's good running 6-liter when it's hitting on all 8. And that, like I say, that transmission has just been rebuilt. It's 4L65, and it's got a good converter and all. So like I say, we'll just transplant it right in here. Stupidly, I had sold a set of headers to my buddy in Savannah, and actually his uncle or something was the one that I got the 6L90 for the Caprice from, and I carried those headers down there and sold them to him when I was down there, full well knowing that at some point I would need them. So this one's not going to be getting a turbo, because I don't know what it is about turbo setups, but I think, from what I've learned now, I think that the turbo setups in these trucks just scare people away. I think it loses most of your audience. I don't know, because I get questions all the time like, can you drive your turbo Silverado? And it's like, yes, I drive it, I tow with it, I drive it like a normal pickup truck. I don't, I still do not understand why people think that you can't drive a turbo truck. It runs and drives just like a normal truck until you get into boost. And, and if you beat on it and run it and dog it, then, yes, there's more of a chance that you're going to tear something up, because it's got a lot more power and torque than it did. So, and with my red truck, trying to sell it, I've gotten, how much can it tow? Well, the weak stock 6.0 towed whatever it did from the factory, whatever it was rated for then. Now it'll tow a whole lot more and does a whole lot better job doing it. But the truck's still a 2500 and can only tow so much. So, I don't understand that question. And again, I don't understand why people don't think that you can, because it has a turbo on it, you just can't drive it. Like, it's a full-blown race car hot rod, and you can only drive it to the gas station or something. Like I said, I don't understand it. But that's why this one's just going NA60. It's got a little camshaft. It'll have the bump to it, and that's all that people care about, I think, is they want to hear a choppy camshaft. And the humorous thing about that is they think that because it sounds like that it's fast. I had a customer with a white truck like this. I don't remember, it was a stage 2 high lift truck cam, and you screw with the idle, then you can make it sound really choppy. And the man asked me, does that make it faster? And I'm just like, no, dude, how would it make it faster? It just makes it sound like everybody wants to hear. When you go to a car show or drive around, normal people that don't know anything about cars, they hear that sound, that loping idle, just that cadence of the camshaft, and they just think that, you don't have to do anything but just have that cadence in the exhaust, and they think that it's the baddest thing around. Whereas typically my stuff has a very mild stock sounding idle and full exhaust, and would absolutely destroy anything like this. But people just don't get it, and again, I don't understand why. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the red truck over here. I'm probably going to part it out, to be honest, because I can't move it. Nobody wants to buy it, because again, I guess because it's turbocharged. Like I just said, how much does it tow? Whatever you put behind it, it'll move it, I promise you. It makes 700 wheel horsepower. It will tow whatever you put behind it in a fast, quick, and in a hurry, and get you into trouble real quick because of how well it tows. My white 2500 I did, that was just a similar engine to this, but had the Summit torque cam in it. My buddy that bought it from me, he tows some water jet thing for plumbing, And he was telling me, he's like, man, he's like, I got pulled over doing 92 miles an hour in this truck. He's like, I've never had anything pull my water jet like this truck does that you built. And I'm like, dude, that thing's slow. You know, I was like, imagine if you were pulling up with this, I'd have to come get you out of jail, you know, because you just be, well, the only thing on this with the 410s, you know, you'd be turning more RPM and probably be more noticeable how fast you're going. His truck has 373s and a little bit taller of a tire on it. But like I say, I'm probably just part this thing out, because like I say, nobody wants to buy it complete, and I'm not gonna lose all my money selling the truck. Michael's got a red one like this, and it's turbo 6-liter and everything. He posted it for $5,000, and you know, it's still, well, how many miles are on it? How much does it tow? You know, just all these questions that are just ignorant in my opinion. And it's like, you know, there's nothing really different about it other than it has a lot more power and torque. So I thought about taking the front clip off of it and putting it on here and doing like Little Red was, because I really like Little Red. I'd like to do that to it, but I don't know, I haven't really decided. It's just gnawing at me, you know, that nobody will buy it, and I'm not going to give the truck away. So if I could part it out and get my money back, it's got an awesome drivetrain in it, so I'd rather keep the drivetrain and just sell what's left of the truck, you know, and then I'd be happy. So anyway, I'm about to pull the drivetrain out of here, put it in there, and then my motor mounts came in for this one too, so that one will be next.